Question number 6, Monica Lennon.
Thank you. To ask the First Minister what the Scottish Government's response is to the reported significant increase in the number of deaths related to drug and alcohol misuse in the last year.
First Minister.
Well, firstly, I'd like to put on record my deepest sympathy to any family who has lost a loved one through drug use. We recognise that behind these numbers there are individual tragedies and loss of life, which is devastating. The rise that we've seen, of course, is the result of the growing odour of many long-term drug users who go on to experience a range of chronic conditions as they do get older. And we know from the recent report from NHS Health Scotland there is an established link between the rise in drug deaths now and previous austerity policies of the 1980s, and that actually should tell us something about not repeating these mistakes for the future. Of course, the Scottish Government has a responsibility to act, and we are determined to do that. The Programme for Government sets out an additional £20 million investment for alcohol and drug services, and our new drug strategy will be based on the principle of seek, keep and treat, to recognise that problems of substance misuse must be addressed from a public health perspective.
Monica Lennon.
I thank the First Minister for her reply. I do have deep concerns about the funding and adequacy of recovery services, but I want to focus on a different barrier to recovery: the stigma around addiction. Living with addiction is not easy to speak about, but this has to change, as recovery and support services can't help people if they feel too ashamed to access them. Too often, families only break their silence about drug and alcohol harm after they have buried their loved ones. I know because 2 years ago, my dad died as a result of alcohol harm. In 2016, Scotland reached an unacceptable 10-year peak, with 2,132 people dying as a result of alcohol and drugs misuse. We have a long way to go. Can I ask the First Minister to join me in sending a message to everyone in Scotland affected by drug and alcohol harm that they matter, that they are not to blame, and that they are deserving of support?
First Minister.
Can I thank Monica Lennon for raising that issue, and can I also pay tribute to her courage, given her personal experience in standing up in the chamber today and raising issues that are often deeply personal to people but hugely important to our society as a whole. Monica Lennon is absolutely right. First of all, we must see those who suffer from addiction as human beings, first and foremost. That's why I ended my first answer by saying we must treat these issues from a public health perspective first and foremost, and that is what our renewed strategy will be seeking to do. And we must make sure, and this is why we have set out plans for additional funding, we must make sure that when people do find the courage to come forward and seek help, that help is there from them, from the services that Monica Lennon has spoken about. You know, these people find themselves with addiction and dealing with drug or alcohol problems, often because of other factors in their lives, and it's those underlying factors as well as their needs as human beings that must be absolutely uppermost in our minds. So I would be happy to talk to Monica Lennon at greater length about these issues based on the experience she's shared with us today, but I think all of us across the chamber will agree that that kind of sentiment must be the driving force behind the changes that we're seeking to make.